IsReal News. This is the morning briefing for Sunday, May 17th. Tensions between Iran and the United States are rising again as nuclear talks remain stalled. Iranian officials are warning that any renewed American action would bring what they call a stronger response than before. Tehran says Washington is trying to impose one-sided conditions, including deep limits on Iran's nuclear program, the transfer of enriched uranium, and continued military and economic pressure. Iranian media says the United States is demanding that Iran transfer 400 kilograms of uranium to American control, operate only one nuclear site, accept limited access to frozen assets, and tie an end to fighting across all fronts to negotiations. Iran is rejecting those terms. Tehran is demanding an end to fighting on all fronts, especially in Lebanon, the removal of sanctions, the release of frozen Iranian funds, compensation for war damage, and recognition of Iranian sovereignty over the Strait of Hormuz. The rhetoric is also escalating. A spokesman for Iran's armed forces warns that any repeat of what he calls American foolishness would bring stronger blows. Another Iranian official says the enemy would suffer far more if war resumes. There are also new concerns in the Gulf. The United Arab Emirates says a drone attack caused a fire near the Barakah nuclear power plant in Abu Dhabi. Officials there say no injuries were reported and there was no impact on radiation safety. The Emirates has not publicly blamed Iran. In Israel, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says he will speak today with President Donald Trump. Netanyahu says Israel is watching Iran closely and is prepared for every scenario. Israel's smaller security cabinet is expected to meet this evening. Iran is also signaling a possible new pressure point: undersea internet cables in the Strait of Hormuz. Iranian officials are reportedly considering fees on major technology companies for use of the cables and have issued vague warnings that data flow could be disrupted if companies do not comply. Experts warn that damage to the cables could create what one researcher calls a cascading digital disaster, affecting banking, military communications, cloud infrastructure, remote work, streaming, gaming, and international commerce. Meanwhile, Axios is reporting that U.S. intelligence officials are increasingly concerned about a growing drone threat from Cuba. According to the report, Cuba has acquired more than 300 military drones from Russia and Iran and has discussed possible attacks targeting Guantanamo Bay, U.S. military vessels, and potentially Key West, Florida. The report says CIA Director John Ratcliffe traveled to Cuba this week and warned officials there against hostile actions. U.S. officials cited in the report say the growing use of drone warfare by Iran and Russia is reshaping security concerns close to American shores. Axios also reports that Russia and China continue operating intelligence collection facilities in Cuba, while U.S. officials believe thousands of Cuban soldiers fighting alongside Russia in Ukraine may be gaining drone warfare experience. There are also reports that Israel has established 2 secret military bases in Iraq. The New York Times reports that a second Israeli post was set up in Iraq's western desert, in addition to an earlier reported site south of Baghdad. In Europe, the International Criminal Court may move toward seeking arrest warrants for 5 more senior Israeli officials. The court denies that new warrants have already been issued, but reports say the process may be moving ahead. In Britain, police in London are searching for a man accused of making antisemitic threats against Jews outside a mosque in the city's East End. Jewish community volunteers say they are increasing patrols while police investigate. In global health news, the World Health Organization has declared a public health emergency of international concern over an Ebola outbreak involving a rare strain in Congo and Uganda. Officials say there is no dedicated vaccine or treatment for that strain, and Israel's Eurovision delegation is back home after finishing second in Vienna. Singer Noam Batan thanked his team, raised the Israeli flag, and called for unity, saying people should make an effort to be good to one another. That's the morning briefing from IsReal News.